Right now you probably shaved this week. Or maybe you looked in the mirror, saw a few stray hairs and thought, yeah, those have to go. It feels completely normal, just another part of modern life. But here's the strange part. Shaving isn't a modern habit at all. It's older than skyscrapers, older than written language, older than farming, and in some places, older than cities themselves. So why would ancient men, who struggled just to survive, spend precious time scraping hair off their faces with sharp stones and bronze blades? The answer turns out to have almost nothing to do with fashion. It has everything to do with survival, status, war, and one surprisingly painful weakness. Let's go all the way back, long before razors, mirrors, or barbers existed. Before humans built kingdoms, before anyone even knew what a king was. Facial hair itself has an ancient story. Beards began appearing in our ancestors hundreds of thousands of years ago as testosterone shaped male bodies during puberty. Like the mane of a lion or the antlers of a deer, a beard could act as a visual signal. It made a man appear older, stronger, and more intimidating. Evolutionary biologists still debate exactly why beards evolved, but many believe they served as a display in competition with other males. They may even have offered a little protection by cushioning blows to the jaw. Not exactly medieval armor, but every little bit helped. For countless generations, beards simply grew because there was little reason to remove them. Early humans had bigger problems. Finding food, avoiding predators, staying alive through winter. Nobody was opening the world's first barbershop, or so it seems. Because archaeologists have discovered something surprising. Stone tools from the Upper Paleolithic period, dating back roughly 30,000 years, show microscopic wear patterns that suggest some were used to scrape skin and remove hair. We can't know whether every tool was used for shaving, but the evidence suggests that at least some prehistoric people deliberately removed facial hair. Think about that. Imagine spending hours making a sharp flint blade, then using it on your own face. That takes commitment. But here's the thing. Removing a beard wasn't always about looking cleaner. Sometimes it was about staying alive. Parasites were an unavoidable part of ancient life. Lice, fleas, and other insects thrived wherever people gathered. Thick facial hair could trap dirt, food, and unwanted hitchhikers. In hot climates especially, a shorter beard was easier to keep clean. No shampoo, no antiseptic, no running water, just a sharp rock and hope. But hygiene alone doesn't explain why shaving became such a powerful symbol. For that, we need to visit one of the world's oldest civilizations, ancient Egypt. Few cultures embraced shaving more enthusiastically than the Egyptians. By around 3000 BCE, many Egyptian men, especially priests and members of the elite, regularly shaved both their faces and even their heads. The hot climate certainly helped make shaving practical. But religion made it essential. Purity mattered deeply in Egyptian temples. Priests often removed nearly all body hair before performing sacred rituals because cleanliness was closely linked to spiritual order. A smooth face wasn't just neat, it was sacred. Ironically, many pharaohs are famous for their magnificent beards. Except, most of those weren't real. The ceremonial beards seen on statues and royal masks were often artificial, attached with straps during rituals to symbolize divine authority. Even female ruler Hatshepsut is frequently shown wearing one. The beard wasn't about hair. It was about power. Here's what makes this so important. For the first time, shaving stopped being only a personal choice. It became a cultural message. Your face told everyone who you were before you even spoke. And other civilizations took that idea in completely different directions. Travel east into Mesopotamia, and everything changes. Assyrian kings proudly wore enormous, carefully curled beards that were perfumed, braided, and styled into elaborate patterns. These weren't neglected beards, they were masterpieces. Creating one could take hours. To the Assyrians, a great beard projected strength, wisdom, and royal authority. Meanwhile, just a few thousand kilometers away, Egyptian nobles were scraping theirs off. Same body, completely different meaning. Culture is strange like that. Then came one of history's greatest image makeovers, Alexander the Great. Before one famous military campaign in the 4th century BCE, ancient writers such as Plutarch later described Alexander ordering many of his soldiers to shave their beards. Why? Because a beard gives your enemy something to grab. In hand-to-hand combat, that mattered. Imagine wrestling with an opponent carrying a spear or sword. Now imagine they grab your beard. Not ideal. Whether every soldier obeyed or not is still debated by historians. But the story became legendary because it reflected a practical military logic. A clean-shaven army looked disciplined. It also reduced one dangerous disadvantage. Sometimes history really is that simple. After Alexander's conquest spread Greek culture across much of the eastern Mediterranean, fashions shifted again. Different rulers embraced different styles. Some preferred smooth faces. Others celebrated thick beards as symbols of philosophy and maturity. Then Rome entered the story. Early Romans generally wore beards. But around the 3rd century BCE, professional barbers, called tonsores, became increasingly common in Roman cities. Visiting the barber turned into a regular social ritual. Young Roman men often celebrated their first shave as an important step into adulthood. It wasn't just grooming, it was a milestone. Even emperors helped shape trends. Julius Caesar reportedly preferred a clean-shaven appearance and encouraged careful grooming. Centuries later, Emperor Hadrian reversed the fashion by wearing a full beard, inspiring many Roman men to copy him. One emperor changed the trend. Millions followed. Sounds familiar? Throughout history, beards have continued swinging like a pendulum. The Vikings are often imagined as wild, untamed giants. Yet archaeological finds, including combs, tweezers, and grooming tools discovered at Viking sites, show they cared far more about appearance than popular movies suggest. Medieval knights trimmed and shaped their facial hair according to local customs. During the Renaissance, beards returned. Later, in the 18th century, many European elites preferred clean-shaven faces. Then the 19th century celebrated enormous beards once again. History keeps changing its mind. But here's the deeper question. Why does something as simple as facial hair keep becoming so important? Psychologists believe humans are remarkably quick at making judgments from faces. We notice age, health, confidence, dominance, and trustworthiness within fractions of a second. Facial hair influences many of those impressions, even today. A beard isn't just hair, it's information. Different societies simply interpret that information differently. One culture sees wisdom, another sees rebellion, another sees holiness, another sees professionalism. The hair never changed, the meaning did. And that's the strange reason ancient men shaved their beards. Not because humans suddenly disliked facial hair, but because every civilization kept rewriting what a beard meant. Sometimes shaving protected you from parasites. Sometimes it prepared you for sacred rituals. Sometimes it helped soldiers survive battle. Sometimes it announced adulthood. Sometimes it simply followed the latest trend started by a king, an emperor, or a conqueror. So here's the full picture. First, evolution gave men beards as a natural signal. Then prehistoric people discovered they could remove them. Ancient Egyptians transformed shaving into purity and religious identity. Mesopotamian rulers turned beards into symbols of royal power. Alexander connected shaving with military survival. The Romans made barbering part of everyday life. And ever since then, civilizations have kept changing the rules. Which brings us back to you. The next time you stand in front of a mirror holding a razor, or decide to grow your beard a little longer, you aren't just making a style choice. You're participating in a conversation that humans have been having for thousands of years. A conversation about identity, about belonging, about power. Because being human has never been only about how we look. It's about the stories we choose to tell with the faces we show the world. If you enjoy uncovering the hidden origins of everyday human behavior, there are plenty more ancient mysteries still waiting to be explored.